Welcome to Epic Mom Life. I am your host, Kara Peterson. This show is sponsored by The Possum's Tale, a unique book adventure for your 6 to 12-year-old child. Let's jump into today's show. You want to homeschool, but you're thinking it might be too expensive? Well, unlock state funds to make homeschooling more affordable. Homeschooling has become increasingly popular for parents seeking more flexibility and customization in their children's education. But many expenses can come up when you are educating your children at home. The ability to use an ESA or Education Savings Account or EEA, Education Empowerment Account, can ease this financial hardship. Technically, there are 19 states that have some type of ESA or EEA scholarship type program, with many more states to follow. I use the word technically because only 5 of the states really seem to be friendly to most homeschoolers and not have a whole bunch of financial or developmental requirements. In this article, I'm going to specifically talk about what I know about the parameters, how you do it, how you apply, all of that kind of stuff in regards to the Arizona educational scholarships. However, a lot of those are going to be very similar regardless of, and you're going to go to the places I tell you that you can go to sign up, and I have links for all of these in your own states. So let's just start. What is an Education Empowerment Account, or EEA, or savings account? This is a state-funded program that allows parents to use public education dollars to customize their child's education. This sounds wonderful, right? Depending on the state, they can pay for tuition to private schools, homeschooling supplies, curriculum materials, and educational or therapy services. How does education empowerment accounts work? How do they work? The money is deposited into a special ESA or EEA account. There are specific vendors who are approved that you can automatically just spend that money on. Amazon is one of those vendors. Otherwise, as a homeschooling parent, you simply have to prove that those funds are necessary educational expenses that fall under what is allowed. And I'll talk about that in a minute. The money then just comes right out of your ESA account and you are reimbursed. So what expenses are included in an ESA or EEA? This is a list of what is included in Arizona. Transportation expenses, technology and equipment, curriculum and educational materials, online courses or classes, tutoring services, educational therapies, standardized tests, extracurricular activities. It is really important that you maintain records. Remember in my article, 3 reasons to not homeschool? Lack of organizational skills or the desire to learn these skills is one of those reasons. How do I apply? The availability of state funds for homeschooling varies from state to state, so the specific process may differ depending on where you live. However, I can provide you with a general overview of how you might apply for homeschool state funds. Research state laws. I have so much hard time with this word. Make yourself familiar with the homeschooling laws and regulations in your state. Each state has its own requirements and provisions regarding homeschooling, including any financial assistance programs available. Determine eligibility. Determine if you meet the eligibility criteria for any homeschooling funds or reimbursement programs. Some states offer financial assistance to homeschoolers based on factors such as income level, curriculum requirements, or special needs. Contact state education department. Reach out to your state's education department or homeschooling division to inquire about available funds or financial programs for homeschoolers. They will provide you with specific information about the application process and eligibility requirements. Complete your application forms. If there are state funds available, you will likely need to complete application forms. These forms may ask for information about your homeschooling curriculum, student details, and any supporting documentation required. Follow the instructions provided by your state's education department and submit the application within the specified time frame. Provide documentation. Now, I got this from another site, so some of this seems kind of weird to me, and I'll explain in a minute. You may be asked to provide additional documentation to support your application. This can include proof of residency, academic records, immunization records. That was the one I thought was really weird. So I don't hold a lot of ground with that one. I think that one's kind of weird, but again, I got this somewhere else, so maybe that person knows more than I do. And other documents required by your state. Attend interviews or evaluations. Some states may require interviews or evaluations to assess your homeschooling program or the progress of your child. In Arizona, it's not that hard. Be prepared to participate in any evaluations or interviews as part of the application process. Follow-up. After submitting your application, it's really important to follow up with the relevant authorities if you don't receive a response within a reasonable time frame. Copies of all documentation and correspondence for future reference. Remember, the process and availability of funds for homeschoolers can vary significantly between the states. It's essential to research and contact your state's education department or homeschooling division for accurate and up-to-date information specific to your location. That list of everything I just said may seem really daunting. However, as of July 2024, there were 71,520 students enrolled in the ESA program in Arizona. I have a friend who has 3 children who have received ESA funds. Their family has received funds due to this program, and it has been a major saving factor in their life and financial plan. Is there a deadline to apply for educational empowerment funds? Yes, there is. Every single year. And the date may vary depending on the state and the program and when the funds come available. In Arizona, I believe we have multiple dates, like 3 different dates throughout the year. Check with your state Department of Education for the times and when you need to get these things done and all that date information. So what if I stop homeschooling? You need to notify State Department of Education within 10 days if you stop homeschooling. If not, you could face penalties or fines. Once I am approved, am I approved forever? No! Actually, you have to reapply each and every single year, which is another reason you're going to keep all of those records and what you said and what you did to apply the previous year, so you can just basically rinse and repeat. There is no guarantee that because you were accepted one year, you will be accepted another year. But the process is very similar to the initial application, except you just need to provide updated information. If you have an application that is denied, you do have 30 days to appeal the decision. Which states, besides Arizona, have programs that offer financial assistance for homeschool families? Florida, Family Empowerment Scholarship, that's the name. Right now, this program provides funding for students with certain disabilities, including those who are homeschooled. However, DeSantis just signed a school voucher law in 2023, which placed less limitations on Florida families. So this is opening up to many more homeschool families. So if you do live in Florida, that's definitely something you want to look into. Utah Fits All Scholarship. All K through 12 students residing in Utah are eligible, regardless of income or ability. The program is open to public, private, and homeschool students. If you're living in Utah, that's a great place to homeschool, just like Arizona. Arkansas, Children's Educational Freedom Account. This account is currently only available for students with disabilities and those in the foster care or who are homeless. However, it will expand to all K through 12 students, including homeschoolers, by 2025. Idaho, Empowering Parents Program. K through 12 students in Idaho are eligible regardless of whether they attend a public school, private school, or who are homeschooled. However, this program does have financial eligibility requirements. Iowa, Students First Education Savings Program. This program covers tuition at accredited non-public schools. There's some disagreements online about this because some people are saying that, well, then that won't apply to homeschooling. However, if your child is able to do an online school program, there are options that are accredited online. Okay, West Virginia. I'm just including this because some people think that this is a thing, but you're going to have to explain to me how this is a thing. So West Virginia has the HOPE Scholarship Fund. I don't understand how this applies to homeschoolers at all. It does not look like there's hope for homeschoolers in West Virginia, but I'm giving you the link. Alabama, Creating Hope and Opportunity for Our Students Education Act. Choose. Alabama actually has 3 programs, and I read through them. I researched them. They all seem to be based on tax credits, whether people are giving tax credits, like to a pool of money, whether people are using their own tax credits, or they're using refundable ones. And it was the refundable ones that I didn't understand. I understand people giving tax credits to a pool of money. I understand using your own refundable tax credits, but I don't understand the refundable ones. So if you live in Alabama, you should look into this because maybe this will work for you. Alaska. I searched all over and I got 2 different answers. I got that there were no homeschool programs in Alaska, and then I got that there's a ton, but they're all little. So you actually have to be really diligent in your research in Alaska to get them. But then I came across IDEA, I-D-E-A. They didn't tell me what it stood for. This seems to be unique to Alaska, and it allocates money to every single homeschooling family. And I saw absolutely no eligibility requirements. So if you live in Alaska, put Alaska, IDEA in caps, homeschooling, and see what pops up. So now we have some of those states. I know they were there were some that were really great for homeschoolers, and there were some with some requirements. The following states all have limitations. And remember, all of these are in the notes and they have links so you can go straight to those pages. Okay, Indiana Education Scholarship Account Program. This program is for residents of Indiana aged 5 through 22 with an active IEP service plan or choice special education plan. If you're in Indiana, I'm assuming you know what that is. Georgia, the Georgia Promise Scholarship Act. This program is a limited eligibility, wide use education savings account program. It prioritizes low and middle income students in low performing schools. Okay, so there's a lot of things that says, but if you're already in school, it says a wide eligibility use education savings account, but then it says prioritizing low and middle income students in low performing schools. So I don't know if they've expanded that to mean in low performing districts. So again, if you live in Georgia, you need to check that out to see if that can apply to you. Louisiana, there are 4 school choice programs in Louisiana. So if you're a resident, you need to check them out. None of them are geared specifically to homeschoolers or homeschool without eligibility requirements. One is a tax program, a tax credit program. Mississippi, Equal Opportunity for Students with Special Needs Program. Mississippi students with special needs who have had an individualized educational plan, an IEP, within the last 3 years to qualify. Montana, Montana Special Needs Equal Opportunity Savings Account Program. Some of these names are really long. This provides families of students with special needs who meet the federal definition of a child with disabilities under the IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Okay, I have to tell you, when I was reviewing this and I saw this, that really sent me spinning because I was like, oh my gosh, that's the same acronym for Alaska, their big IDEA program. But under Alaska, it says that they were giving money specifically to homeschool families, each and every homeschool family. So I don't think the Alaska program's IDEA is an acronym for Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. If I'm wrong, please let me know, but I don't think that they're the 2 same acronyms. New Hampshire Education Freedom Account Program. New Hampshire residents whose children are entering grades K through 12 who have income at or below 350% of the federal poverty level apply. North Carolina Education Students Accounts, ESA Plus. North Carolina provides 3 different funding options for students with disabilities or low-income families who opt for homeschooling or private schooling. South Carolina Education Scholarship Trust Fund Program. This program requires students to have been in public schools the prior year, and there are financial requirements listed online. So this is useless if you're continuing through homeschooling, right? It's just if you're going for your first year, I guess. Tennessee, Individualized Education Account Program. Students with qualifying disabilities. The qualifying disabilities include autism, deaf or blindness, a hearing impairment, an intellectual disability, an orthopedic impairment, a traumatic brain injury, a developmental delay, or a visual impairment, who have been enrolled in a Tennessee public school for the entire previous year and have a qualifying individualized educational program, an IEP. So it looks to me like Tennessee and was the one right before that, South Carolina, I think. Anyway, they got together because they did the exact same thing. They said, okay, so yeah, we're going to give you funds if you meet these requirements, but only if you were enrolled in a public school the year before. Okay. Basically, you're saying don't homeschool. Tennessee has another education savings account program, however, and it is for students transitioning from public school to private school. So if you're not homeschooling, but you're in private school, they have that. Wyoming Education Savings Account Program. This program enables parents to use funds for tuition and fees, online curriculums, therapies and tutoring, educational after-school and summer programs, transportation, and post-secondary coursework. Okay, that was a lot. And a lot of the states are so great. They're like, we encourage you to educate your child. We want to help here. And they have almost, like Utah and I think it was Idaho and Arizona. They're like, yeah, we're going to give you as much freedom as we can. We want to help you do this. And then you have other states where it seems like they're trying to tie your hands and pretend like they're helping you homeschool. They're really helping you not at all. There's no help. But you still have questions? Where can you go to get real answers? Join a homeschooling Facebook group in your area. I am not a fan of social media. However, it does serve many purposes. When people have a common bond or interest, they oftentimes form a group. These people then can support, encourage, and help each other. Homeschool Facebook groups are fabulous for this. I've been a part of them, and people are able to ask questions about state funding. Other moms have, what other moms have tried, where they have used their funds, what experiences they have had, what has worked, what hasn't worked. These groups have also been great for the day-to-day stuff. What are you using? What's working? What is your classroom like? How is this working with you and your family? What kind of conflicts are you experiencing? What curricula are you finding that's working? I have a kinesthetic learner. What did you find for a writing program for them? You can find so much help and support on a Facebook homeschool group. I really encourage you to find one in your area. We have one. I live in a tiny town, Prescott, way up in North Arizona. We have a Northern Arizona homeschool group, and we have an Arizona homeschool group. So it's a different flavor, right? Because you have the great big, and then you have a smaller one, and I think we even have a Prescott one. So these people have walked your walk, and someone is going to pop up on that page needing encouragement on a topic that you are a master in, that you have down, and you'll be able to give that help as well. So it's a total give and take. Educational savings accounts or educational empowerment accounts provide homeschooling families with valuable opportunities to access quality educational resources and support. The process of the application may seem daunting at first, but when taken step by step, it can be a smooth and straightforward process and can put a little jingle in your pocket. Movie quote, unfathomable. It's, without fathom. Megamind. If you are hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode. And for that, I want to send you a huge thank you. Please leave me a comment or review and share with other moms you know. Get in touch in the comments or on Kara's social media networks. See you next week for a new episode.